again. Well, the weather's a bit grim in North Wales today, so I thought I'd do another quick film photography vlog, appraising the latest film camera to my collection, which I acquired about a week or so ago. It's a camera which I've wanted for quite a long time. Well, it's a brand or make of camera I've wanted for a long time. And it's the Contax camera. This is the 137 MA Quartz, and it's well, it's a beautiful camera. These are a work of art, I think. The camera came out, well, not this camera, but Lumix. Contax came out in the 1930s. The German Zeiss Icon Corporation made them. They were made for quite a few years. They were a highly regarded camera, but they faded. They stopped production. I think it probably has a lot to do with the war and the division between East and West Germany. I think Carl Zeiss Jena became an East German. I'm sure they were based in East Germany after the Second World War. But that being by the by, in the 1970s, the Japanese Yashica Kyocera Corporation did a collaboration with Carl Zeiss Jena. They made the body. They wanted to bring out a new body and market it as a Contax with the Zeiss Jena lenses. Eventually, the Yashica Kyocera Corporation made their own lenses for them. But this particular camera, which is one of the, I suppose, mid-level Contax cameras, it came out in 1980. I think it only probably ran for a few years. So it's 40 years old, this camera. And at the time, it was one of the smallest motor-driven cameras, SLR cameras on the market. Quartz is something to do with the shutter mechanism. Apparently, it was one of the most accurate shutters you could get on the market, and it was highly suitable for cold weather. Apparently, that's what the blurb says. So this would be the camera to take up Everest if you were going to go and take some extreme cold weather shots. It's it's a motorized camera, but it does have mechanical elements like the rewind, for example. I'm going to show you. I'm going to get up close and personal with it in a minute and show you a close-up of how it works. But basically, it's a qualitative top-end Yashica. Basically, the Contax were marketed as a top-end Yashica camera, not quite on a par with the Leica film cameras of the era, but certainly up there in the Premier League. They were a really sought-after camera in the time, and they still fetch a lot of money. I mean, I've seen these, not this particular camera, but some of the other models, the later models, anything up to £700 or even more. So you can pay a lot of money for them. This was quite cheap. I saw this and I didn't pay it much attention because it sounded good, but it looked a bit shabby, shall we say. The guy who was selling it, the 100% record on eBay, feedback was 100%. He was telling the would-be buyers that it had accurate shutter, totally accurate shutter. The light meter was working accurately. Everything was working. But what put me off initially, had a ding in the lens, the Yashica lens. And there were serrations. He must have zoomed in quite a bit because they looked a lot worse on the photograph. I thought I was going to have to get some metal filler, smooth it off and paint over it. But actually it's not too bad. You can hardly see it. So when I got it was actually much better. I've ordered another lens for it. I mean, I've been using this the weekend. I took it to a nature reserve near on the mouth of the Menai Straits, and beautiful conditions, lovely day, and I was firing away, and it's really lovely to use. It's an Aperture Priority camera. You set it on auto, choose your aperture, and the camera will select the speed. So on a day like today, probably look out the window. It's very dull. I'd have it on, say 8, than the film speed. It would probably choose something like 125 or something on a day like today outside. Maybe even 60 because it is quite dull. And that's all there is to it. When you look through the viewfinder, you get it tells you what the speed it's selected. It tells you what you've selected, the aperture you've selected, and it even tells you how many shots you've taken. So you get all that information. We're looking through the viewfinder. So I've never had a camera that does all that before. It's as I say, it's just an aperture, dead easy. Manual focus, by the way. When I first got it, I was pressing the shutter down to focus. I was just taking the shot all the time. So if you buy one of these, it is manual focus. You've got to focus in, and it's quite accurate. Yeah, so that's the 40-year-old Contax 137MA Quartz. Lovely camera. I really enjoyed using it, and the guy's right. It does appear to be very accurate. The shutter speeds, the light meter, it's all hunky-dory, so no problems. This was under £50, just under, which with a Contax camera with a lens, albeit with a ding in the lens, is very cheap. So I was quite pleased with that. I'm quite pleased with the condition. Right, I'll show you a close-up of what gives. Right, just to give you the rundown. It's an auto wind camera. You basically put the film in the back, open by pulling up, like so many cameras, pulling up the central spindle, pop it out and open the back, pull the film across, slot it in the spool, make sure it's firm, take a few shots. It's not switched on at the moment. Take a few shots and make sure it's winding through properly. Close the back. At the end of the film, it gives 10 bleeps. And then it's a funny little... normally they're underneath, aren't they? But that's the battery compartment underneath. You have a button to press in. Sorry, you can't see that. Normally you have a button to press in. Not so in this case. It's a weird little thing. Just here, if you can see it, it's like a little arm that you pull out, and the button's underneath. You press that in, and then, just like a mechanical camera, you just wind it back. Right, it's manual focus. It's not autofocus. So basically, this is you can see the little indent that was on the lens, the Yashica lens. It's not. I've ordered another lens actually to replace this. Yeah, it's manual focus, and it's aperture priority. So basically, if I was outside today, just set it on. It's quite dull, so say set it on 8. Look through the viewfinder at the back here, and it will tell you what the speed it's chosen, which today could be 125, even 60 if it was very dull. So aperture priority. You have to set it on these settings here, X1. These are white balance. So standard is X1 in the middle. The ASA is set on this side wheel. Battery check is green light. I don't know if you can see, probably can't see that. Green light. Switch it on like so, and then you're good to go. You just got to set your aperture. Sorry, I'm not getting this in focus. Yeah, basically switch it on, set your aperture, focus, and then shoot. And that's it. I was a bit confused on what these are on the side. It says ST, C and S. These little on the side, these little numbers at the side, letters on the side. Actually, it's self-explanatory when you think about it. ST is self-timer, C is continuous, which is 3 shots, and S is single shot. So always have it on single unless you want to do a self-timer or continuous. The only three things you've got to worry about here are it's on auto, X, which is flash, and B, stop. So that basically you just, well, your goal's going to have it on auto unless you're doing a flash or a very long exposure. Right, switch it off. Oh, sorry, I switched it on auto lock. Off. Yeah, as I've just explained, to rewind, you just pull that back, press the button down, and rewind it back there. Battery compartment is, well, it takes AA batteries. Open it up, and there they are. Just standard AA batteries, which, well, it adds a lot of bulk to the camera, considering like later cameras took those little, are they CU66? I can't remember, the small dumpy little batteries. But at least they're plentiful, they're easy to get. So if you're away, you can always get AA batteries. Yeah, so that's where the batteries fit. Little slot at the back where you can tear off the card of the film you're using and just slot it in so you know what film. If you use a lot of cameras, you take a lot of film, then often you forget what's in the camera, whether it's a black and white or a colour or a slide or what film it is. And that's all there is to it, really. So there you have it. That's the Contax 137. Looks a really nice camera. I'm looking forward to getting the results back. So if you're into film photography and you get a chance to pick up a Contax, if you're into film photography, you're probably aware about Contax anyway, what great cameras they are. But yeah, good luck and happy hunting. Catch you again.